And then everybody says they have a good matchup against that in Texas.
Right. All right.
We'll see.
Let's get
Okay.
them.
Jamie sitting there, 3-0. Nice, nice. Presented, like, showing the Yorion. Just a wasteland. Like, what do you read from the... like, my first guess would be you're on a mulligan, right? Or maybe... Oh, see, Jamie's so smart. Jamie's so smart. He wants to make an important 2-drop. And his only white-producing land is probably a non-basic land. So he'd rather run out that one. Wait, what the is going on Rodrigo's side? Look at these alterations.
Yeah, that's a really cool looking underground sea, if you ask me.
Wow. And of course, everything's signed.
Yeah.
Okay, so we go for the end of turn Entomb. Jamie runs out the wasteland, takes out the land in hopes of dead, but Rodrigo is like, I don't need no animate dead. I'm gonna get a turn to Archon of Cruelty. What you gonna do? You don't even have a board state yet. So
what a powerful start. Like this really puts this Risk Emanator deck to like the S tier level, right? It can do. Oh wow.
Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh! Saying no, Solitude, not in here. I've seen that guy before. Did you watch a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid?
A little bit. I also played a Yu-Gi-Oh! Before I started playing Magic.
Did?
Yeah.
You played like Pot of Greed?
I did play Pot of Greed. I didn't think it was a good card though back then because I was more interested in casting big creatures like the what's it called, like the Dark Mage.
Blue Eye, White Dragon or something. Yeah. White Eye, Blue Dragon.
That
those
sort of
two.
stuff. Yeah.
Ooh, no, look at that. It's beautiful plains. But of course, that's also a beautiful dragon. This is gonna be a little rough. Discarded the flagstones.
Yeah. Archon of Cruelty versus Yorion. Which dragon wins? Actually, I don't even know if Yorion is a dragon. It might be something
It's like a
else.
snake.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Some people call it like like
snake wizard or
like sky noodle.
I think that's the official creature type.
Oh yeah.
They changed everything now. Everything is either a sky or a noodle. In this case, it's a sky noodle. Going through the motions. Like once you get like your third trigger of the Archon of Cruelty, it's just like over already, right? Oh my god! Are we gonna get a Solitude? No. The Troll of Khazad-dûm. Yeah, this is. I think I looked this up in the dictionary. The technical term for this is an utter blowout.
Yeah,
That's what they call it.
Absolutely. It was a turn 2 Archon of Cruelty with Force of Will backup. and
ridiculous.
Let's remember, right? Like Rodrigo also got Wastelanded.
Yeah.
And like Jamie had the Wasteland. Jamie also had the Solitude. Yeah.
How do you say ridiculous in Spanish? ¿Cómo se dice ridiculous in Spanish? Probably like ridiculous. Anyway, that was going to be blown. Okay, Jamie, you gotta make up for that. Like, put on a real show now. I mean, honestly, Death and Taxes in the first game against Reanimator-based strategies on the draw, it's rough, right? It's really rough. Yeah. Okay. Gonna skip straight to game 2, skipping all of that sideboarding. And Rodrigo sitting on a bunch of Brazen Borrowers. I would guess some mana. On the other side of the board, we got some Solitudes. Once again, really beautiful plains here. Swords, no, not Swords of Plush. That's an Etherwire. That's like a pretty good start. Is that Darth Vader? No, that's Free for Vendetta, right? Yeah. Okay. Rodrigo has interesting alterations. That's a wasteland, right?
That's a wasteland, yeah.
There's a lot of the rings wasteland. Interesting. I'd be interesting to know what he kept if you lead in a wasteland there. Oh yeah, it's actually pretty obvious what he kept, right? Troll of Khazad-dûm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Probably gonna be Troll of Khazad-dûm. It's a Recruit of the Guard, right? That he picked up over there. Jamie reading it to make sure.
Yeah.
Can I get everything I want?
Really interested in what Jamie brought for this tournament in particular. Maybe like a couple of sideboard choices, maybe because like everyone in the room knows that Risk Emanator is the best deck in the room.
Now,
so
would you look at that?
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Earlier today we saw Rest in Pieces. We saw Containment Priest already. Unlicensed Hers. Soulguide Lantern. Fairy Macabre. So many different graveyard haircuts. And there's a Surgical Extraction.
Okay. That's interesting. So if Rodrigo ever starts caring about the cage, he's probably gonna like end of turn bounce it and then go hard for the graveyard. In which case, Jaime can already jump into it with the surgical extraction. So that might work out for him, unless I mean he's Rodrigo. He's probably gonna find like a force until then, and then you feel like oh all the work was for nothing. Let's see. If I'm Jaime, I'm happy if I can clear here. Not sure we actually have that. I feel like this is just gonna be like land Umezawa's Chitta pass, which is like really underwhelming. Like at this point, if you have land Chitta pass, you would probably actually consider not playing the Chitta just so you can pay for days in case Rodrigo really bounces the Graph Digger's Cage.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Oh, actually, that was not Recruiter. That was the what's it called again?
We need the name for this, but it's basically for modern.
The thing that does disenchant, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's the 4-drop that disenchants on ETB.
Yeah,
But it can also be played as a land.
And in this case, we play it as land, get Stoneforge. And now it's going to be, once again, is it going to be Lion Stash or is it going to be a Caldra Complete, I would guess. So let's see what Jamie's going to be up to. Do you want to close out the game quickly or do you want to have like an alternate source of fate?
I think I want to. If I was Jaime, I would not want to drag this game like unnecessarily to the long game. Yeah. And again, you know, the Graph Digger's Cage and Surgical Extraction are already a lot of graveyard hate.
Oh, Rodrigo sitting there on another wasteland. I mean,
we got the combination. Oh, it's Witch Enchanter.
Witch Enchanter, that's the one. Yeah. Witch Enchanter?
Yeah.
Member, dismember, word member. Anyway, so we pick up a Path to Exile. I guess Path to Exile is an okay answer against something like Troll of Khazad-dûm, right? Cards that, like, even against Frog. Against most of the stuff that Rodrigo can produce. Rodrigo's picked up Grief, not too exciting, passing back to Jaime, who actually does have another land. But nothing else going on, really. Like, Jaime has a lot of reactive cards, passes back to Rodrigo, who picks up, is that a land? Like an island? Oh, fetch land, okay.
Yeah, just passing back.
Okay, well, we got a Containment Priest, we got something.
Yeah, I mean, Jaime must be really happy to see this. You know, no Psychic Frog. No. Actually, I guess like Psychic Frog is maybe like the only thing that's really threatening here.
I think like no normal creature would be threatening considering how much removal we have, but anything that goes to the graveyard. Like I think the most threatening thing would be if Rodrigo goes for the end of turn bounce on the Graph Digger's Cage, because then, well, you have two pieces of interaction still. I think, yeah, honestly, Jaime must be feeling okay here, right? He doesn't have any kind of offense going on, but eventually he's gonna draw into some more lands. The most awkward thing would be like if Rodrigo has just like random threats, like if he like goes end of turn Bowmasters, then main phase, I don't know, Hardcast Grief or something, where you feel like I don't really want to fight over them, but actually. Okay, and now.
Okay, passing it back.
Oh, he actually might have to discard. He's pretty close to it.
Yeah, Jaime is. Land like that single wasteland.
Honestly,
did a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say that he's not going to discard because he pulled Surgical to the front. I think you'd rather Surgical the troll than discarding, right? I would think. Yeah, that's what he actually does. So on his main phase, he's like, you know what? Before I have to discard something, I'd rather. What is he taking out here? He's taking out.
He's taking out the Force of Will.
Yeah, I can see that.
Interesting.
Makes it so that Rodrigo really has to basically let everything Jaime does resolve. What do we see here?
Okay, so we have a Brazen Borrower, we have a Hardcast Grief next turn, potentially Fatal Push, and an Engineered Explosive. So a couple of outs to this Graph Digger's Cage already.
By the way, you noticed something? The only card of those that's not signed, it's Grief.
Oh yeah, because
that's because Rodrigo knows it's going to be banned.
Yeah.
Why go through all the trouble of getting it signed when you know it's going to be banned? Like, nah. You're not going to do that. Apparently the Scryland is also getting banned, from what I can see here. Okay, taking out all the forces. What is that? Is that Captain Picard? No. He's taking a look at the rest of the deck, just trying to figure out what the game plan for Rodrigo is gonna be. Yeah, that's a scary card, right? That we see over there, the Archon of Cruelty. If that ever makes it to the battlefield, we can deal with it, but we're gonna lose a lot of resources in the process.
Yeah, and that's really like the power of the Risk Emanator deck. It can still be the it can shift between the reanimation part and the fair plan, and for the opponent, it's like valuable information, right? To know like what does Rodrigo want to do post sideboard.
And he also, like, the beauty is you don't really have to decide what you want to do sometimes, because you can still continuously threaten both. It's not like, for example, with lands, as we talked about in one of the earlier rounds, where you at some point you really have to commit either to the combo side or the grindy side or something. You can always like do both, because the cards they are not closed off interactions. They have a lot of interactions between themselves.
Oh yeah.
So here comes the Hardcast Grief. And is that going to be a Path to Exile or the Swords of Plowshares? It looks like it. Yeah, Path to Exile.
Rodrigo is actually going to get... Oh, he has more than one option. He can either get Island or Swamp here.
So what are we going to take here? Probably not the Chitter, right? The pre-war Formalware. Is there any kind of creature in the graveyard? I don't think yet. Dude, this is equipment galore. We got 3 pieces of equipment. We got the Containment Priest, the Solitude, and I keep calling it Skyclave Sovereign. It's actually
Skyclave Apparition.
Apparition. It's not a Sovereign yet. It's an Apparition. We don't care all that much about most of these cards. I guess if you take one of the creatures, then the pre-war Formalware becomes active. Should Jaime draw a land, of course.
Yep. Double checking the card.
Yeah, it actually makes it kind of awkward. I think the stuff you want to take is one of the creatures. How does it actually work for pre-war Formalware? Can it get back Containment Priest? I think it does. We need to read the actual text on Containment Priest again. So let's check that. Yeah, if a non-token creature would enter the battlefield and it wasn't cast, exile it instead. I'm actually not sure whether, like, you can get back that one pre or Formalware. I'm seriously 50-50 on that, but we will see. Jaime probably knows that. No, actually, he goes for the Chitter. Okay, sure. Gonna play a tapped land. And Rodrigo just ponders, looks at a couple more things.
Yeah. Cage completely stops the...
Oh, there's a cage as well. Yeah. Never mind.
Yeah, yeah. Cage stops it entirely.
Yeah. I can't see the forest for the trees. Okay, here we go. There's a cage stopping our Containment Priest from... Okay, so pre-war Formalware turned off anyways. Yeah. But as land light as we still are, Jaime's... Okay, finally finding another land from the top that's actually going to stick around and not get wastelanded. But honestly, though, when you think about it, there's also not too much happening on Rodrigo's side, right? Like, he did cast a couple of cards. Most of them got removed.
Yeah. It's rather reactive. Lot of removal, lot of bounce. And to be honest, there's not a lot of action going on except now. We have this Psychic Frog.
That's a good one, but that's probably also just going to be taken out by the Skyclave Apparition, not Sovereign.
Yep.
At least that's what I would go for. Let's see whether Jaime agrees. What else is there left in Rodrigo's hand? Are we going to fight over this? No. Frog goes to the graveyard. Apparition has arrived. Like, and the longer the game goes on like this, the more I kind of like it for Jaime.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like in a few turns, he might unlock his companion, Yorion.
Oh yeah. There was something, right? I remember. This is why we play such a big deck.
Yeah, and bonus points for Jaime if he can hardcast Culture Complete maybe at some point. It's a 7-drop after all.
Where do we go from here? There's still a Daze. Dude, if Yorion gets dazed by Rodrigo, that would be something. But Jamie's probably going to be well aware of this. You don't really need to expose yourself to days on the Yorion unless there's like a lot of pressure. So let's see. He also talked, like we talked to Jamie about this yesterday, right? He also mentioned that in the Yorion version of the deck, you don't want to actively wasteland all that much, just because you want to build up to that 5 or 6 mana that you need to actually like resolve Yorion. And he's staying true to that, right? Also, Rodrigo is sitting on 4 mana. Like the only thing you're really stopping is like a potential hardcast additional grief by keeping him at like potentially 3 mana. But I like it. I like just like sitting back on the wasteland, and somehow we keep finding these witch enchanters that give us extra mana. Good. Now at 5 mana, we're going to use 3 of those to put Yorion into our hand. And now the moment of truth. Do you randomly just cast it? Like you're not even getting extra value out of it next turn, I just realized. Maybe you just hardcast Solitude next turn, try to take out the illusion token. At this point, it's also like getting really scary. Like, what is Rodrigo up to? He already like drew a lot of cards, didn't do anything. Now he plays a Brainstorm, which is probably going to increase his card quality even more. While you're sitting on pre-war Formalware and Caldra Complete, which don't do anything. I mean, technically, Caldra we will get to some point where we can hardcast it. It's not completely crazy, but
yeah. Rodrigo needs to assemble a combination of the bounce spell for the cage, and then Entomb Reanimate. And he doesn't have any Force Wills in this deck anymore, so the Solitude is definitely gonna take care of whatever Rodrigo gets here. If he gets an Atraxa, you know, he can kinda recoup card advantage and maybe get it going from there. But this is a tricky one because he doesn't have a lot of time. Jamie doesn't apply a lot of pressure, but he already knows about the Yorion in hand. The Jita is not active yet, but it could get active somewhat soon.
Ooh, interesting. Guess we're gonna use that as a fetch land effect, just so we can shuffle, putting the Archon in there that we definitely want. But now we talked. You just mentioned this, right? There's Forceful again. So even if we find Archon, we can't play the game where we like get Archon, protected for a turn of Forceful, then attack, and then we have so much value that it doesn't matter anymore. Like now a single Archon trigger, it's annoying, but it's really not the end of the world, especially with the 2 dead cards that Jamie has in hand right now.
Yeah.
So let's see where this is headed.
Man, the Surgical Extraction Force of Will. I didn't think that it would matter so much in this game, but it truly does. It truly does.
I've told the story before, but the one thing where you feel like in your Magic career you have a lot of like level up moments. And I remember in 2011 I was watching a player play Maverick against High Tide, which back then was like a really good deck. And Maverick, like you struggle against High Tide, right? Not so much you can do. So what he did is, in the post-board games, he randomly surgically extracted Forceful in response to a Time Spiral. And I was like, yeah, okay, I guess you can do that. Yeah, turns out, what was the idea? High Tide didn't have any more hard counter magic because High Tide sided out like Flusterstorms and everything. So he was sitting on 4 Mindbreak Traps in the deck and was saying, okay, we draw 7 cards after the Time Spiral, and if I have like a Mindbreak Trap or 2 in there, and you only have like 1 business spell afterwards, even if it is like...
He's always going to win the counter war.
Yeah, you're not going to win against that. And actually that won him the game. And that was like, that made me think about like using surgical in like strategic ways. Not only tactical ways where you like deny something on the spot, but like you craft your whole game plan around it. Okay, we found the 5th land that we already knew about. Rodrigo, do something. just come on. We want to see some action. Pre-war Formalware getting checked, double checked. All these daisies. I mean, there's an Engineered Explosives. We can use that technically to take out the cage, if that's ever exciting to us, but I don't even think we have any kind of reanimation spells. Yeah, we got 2 daisies that we just can't get rid of somehow. Engineered Explosives has been engineered to set off everything at 1. 6 lands. Oh, dude, but Rodrigo has double days. Rodrigo has double days. Come on. Like, I'm not playing around double days here, I think. But you might test the waters just by going Solitude Hardcast. Because like the Yorion alone is really just a big creature. It's not that impressive. Whereas at least if you get Solitude out, you know, maybe you can get some value. Yeah, I like that. I like that so much.
Okay. So this is an end of turn Solitude.
And Rodrigo, is he gonna double ace? Oh, interesting, he does. Even though he knows about Yorion. Maybe he's really saying, okay, you got a 4/5 flyer. That's okay. I'm like, even if I find a frog and I dump everything into it, I can beat that.
Yeah.
And Jamie's down to 7 as well. At the very least, like Yorion is a big blocker for the illusion token. And of course, it's gonna pick up Chitter at some point. But somehow, okay, the Chitter plan kind of foiled by Fairy Macabre, which is gonna make Fairy Macabre, Brazen Borrower, which is gonna make it really awkward for Jamie to ever connect with Chitter. But also, Rodrigo has Reanimate in hand. So now, if he sets off the Engineered Explosives, takes out the Cage, then on the next turn he can go hard on Reanimate. That's interesting. Also, we have 7 mana. Technically, we can cast. We can cast a Kaldra Complete, but no. We are playing around double days. Oh my god, my man Jamie sees the writing on the wall. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna play around double days, but I'm not gonna play around triple days.
Okay. And the equip.
How does it actually work? Yorion has no arms. How do you like wield a Chitter?
I just
How does Stride Arbor like use a Chitter? It's like a forest.
Yeah, how did your Gaia's Cradle hold the GT?
Oh, there, see, there was some Nissa magic involved. Well, good point. Okay, we end up actually getting our Archon, sacrificing Yorion revealed. Yorion.
Yeah.
Oh, and discarding our 7-drop. Okay. So much respect for the days. And now we can use pre-war Formalware. I'm not sure what exactly we have to get back. That would be good here.
I mean, look at this. JB completely out of answers for the Archon. Solitude's gone.
It's actually beautiful. So even if you take out the Archon, you still lose to the Illusion next turn.
Send 2 life.
Come on.
Yeah, he could get back a Stoneforge Mystic, but that won't do it. Patient game. See, like that. That's why I like watching Rodrigo so much. This game was, I think he played it like beautifully. Really patient with his brainstorms. There were a couple of turns where he just didn't do anything on purpose, I believe, just to wait for the perfect moment to, to pull this one off. Because like he had the reanimation package for multiple turns, right? And I don't know which turn this was. I think Jamie felt somewhat safe, I think, after a while with his Grafdigger's Cage. And
yeah, I think one of the big things was that Jamie didn't really produce any value, right? We talked about how Yorion also didn't have anything relevant to blink, really.
Yeah.
So he had a lot of times not using his mana. And I mean, that of course sometimes happens. Just like something like a single Recruiter of the Guard, for example, could start a chain where like all of a sudden you get so much value every single turn. Whereas now Jamie had hate, but he had nothing else beyond hate, right?
Right.
Is that like one of those things that teaches you a life lesson? If like all you have is hate, that's not good enough. You need some content.
Yeah. Yeah, you need a combination of both.